Good day, everyone. Welcome to another report on our course Production of Print and Radio Development Communication Materials. This is Rhonda, and I am part of the reporters that will delve into Module 10, which is Writing for Radio. My particular topic will focus on the script format. But before we proceed with that, allow me to give a short review of the previous topic under this module, which talks about the radio script in general. Now, a script is a written material that contains dialogue, directions for music, and sound effects that must go into a program. It tells the announcer exactly what to say or do, when and how to say it. So basically, this script is a form of a guide on how the program will unfold in this radio station. Now, there are many types of scripts out there. There is the interview script, public service announcement scripts, drama, and continuities. To know more of that in detail, you may refer back to the report of my groupmate in this module. But for now, we will go into an equally important topic on the discussion of the radio script, and that is how we are going to format said script. Now, according to our reference material in this course, it is important that a station follow a particular script format and that each radio staff is familiar with the station's script format. This goes to say that there is no really a universal um, definite way of formatting a script because what remains important in these scripts that we write is that everyone within the radio staff is familiar with this and is knowledgeable of what parts of these scripts entails. So there may be some information in regards to writing the radio script that all of us must be familiar with. But in terms of the particulars of writing the script, that will be primarily dependent on the preference of the radio staff. But for this particular report, I'm going to go into the things that is important all across all the radio scripts that we may write. We have here an example, a radio script, the format followed by Radio DZLP as provided in our reference material. To start with, we have the title page. The title page contains the necessary information about the program. The body of the script may also begin on the title page if there is still space. But what are the types of information that is necessary to be included in the title page? That is number one, the name of the station, the frequency, and its call sign, and it must appear at the upper left-hand portion of the title page. As you can see in the sample we have here on screen, this refers to the station box, which once again contains the name of the station, that's Radio DZLB, its frequency, and the call sign that they are using. After which, below the station box is the title of the program, the date, and the time of broadcast. This now pertains to the program details, which is of course very important information to be included in the script for us to know that this particular script is intended only for that particular specific program. After that, below the station box and at the center of the title page, the following must be included: the personnel involved and their respective roles to be indicated. So again, we can refer to the example of the title page here on screen, and we can see they've written their writer director, their announcer, their technician, which are again pertinent information that we must include in the title page. Further down, we may start with the body of the script, once again, if there is still space for it to be included. In the succeeding pages of this script, we have what we call the inside page. In these inside pages, there are some things that we need to always include. Number one is to repeat the title of the program or production on the upper left-hand corner of each page. Again, we may refer to the picture flashed here on screen, as it says there, Oras ng Mother's Club. After that, directly placed beside it, is we must place the page number just after the title, but separated with a couple dashes or dots. And so, another thing that we must always consider in writing our inside pages in the script is that we must type all copies double spaced using only one side of the paper. Now, double spacing will make the script easier to read and corrections can be easily inserted. With regards to printing only on one side of the paper, this helps us to avoid confusions or blunders in the delivery of the script in the case that we may get confused on which side of the paper must we already use. Okay, so to avoid that blunder completely, we must ensure to print only one side of the paper. Another thing is that we must type in capital letters everything that is not to be actually read on the air, like directions for sound effects, music, names of characters, and etc. Now, the script naturally contains things that are not intended to be spoken out loud within the program, and to ensure that our announcers or our personnel that will be reading this script avoids confusion along the way and making the mistake of saying something out loud, like as a direction for sound effects or music or their names of the characters. We must ensure that they are different from the rest of the script that is intended to be said out loud. The next thing is we must underline directions for and titles of music. This helps the one handling the chords or sound effects on the discs to locate directions quickly. So as we can see from the sample here on the side, when we are indicating directions for another personnel in the radio staff to be easily familiar with, to be easily identify it within the script, then we must do so in an by using an underline for these directions. Next, we must write the names of speakers on the left margin and begin the speech or dialogue further to the right of the same line, so as to provide a clear structure of the information within a page. The names for speakers must always be located on the left side of it, and the following lines, which entails the actual words that they are intended to say out loud in the program, they must be written further down to the right, because then this ensures that names and the lines that they are actually going to say are separated from each other. So once again, give a clear direction for what the announcer must be reading from the script. We must also indicate music titles, sound, cues, etc. on the left margin, then continue with the directions in the body of the copy. So as we can notice on the script that we are following right now, um, pertinent elements are more towards flushed to the left margin, because again, it's important that we structure it in a way that they do not clash with the things, especially in the script, the words in the script that the announcers must be saying on the air. After which, music or stage directions occurring in the body of the speech should be enclosed in parentheses and written in capital letters so that an actor will know not to read them as part of his lines. Now, naturally, there will be directions within the body of the script, which again are not either flush left as are the rest of the directions that we have previously discussed. Now, again, to make sure to avoid blunders in reading the radio script, it must be written very clearly, and it must be made, yes, it must be made clear that These words, written within parentheses and in capital letters, must not be said out loud as part of the script. Next is we must never hyphenate a word at the end of the line to avoid syllabicating it incorrectly and having the reader mispronounce it. Now um, parang there are instances that we may mistake one word for another if they are kumbaga hyphenated or um, divided up into different syllables, no? And for us to completely avoid that mistake, we must then avoid hyphenating a word. Now, to do so, we must carry the entire word on to the next line and avoid dividing the words altogether. After which, if the speech of a single character must be continued on to the next page, we must write more at the bottom of the page so that the reader will be prepared for the continuation. And for scripts involving more than two speakers, we must number every line on the left margin. We must begin with a set of numbers at the top of the page, and it must follow through. Now, by doing so, the parts that may be cut would be indicated quickly, and the speakers can easily locate references by the director for special attention. And lastly, as one thing that we must always remember when preparing the radio script is that we must never staple the script pages, particularly the usual manner of stapling papers together, which is to staple them at the upper part of the papers. It's important that these papers are loose so that the speakers can just drop each page as they finish reading their part. Or if they must be really stapled together, then we staple them at the bottom left end of the script. Now, this way, the page will make less noise when flipped over than when the page is stapled at the top. So what we are avoiding here is the interference of noise, when we are delivering our script on the radio. So better to keep this in mind to make sure that the smooth delivery of our message through the radio. That concludes my brief discussion on how we must format our radio scripts. Now, as part of our discussion forum in this particular topic, allow me to give to you some questions that I would be very happy to hear from you after watching this report. Number one, which formatting instruction in writing the radio script do you find most useful? Now, of course, all of these things are equally useful in themselves, but I want to hear from you or read from you specifically. Which of these instructions do you think are um, best made sure to be really followed in every practice of preparing the radio script? Second, do you have additional tips on how to format a good and efficient radio script? Now, I know that many of our classmates here in this course are radio practitioners, and I would be very, very happy to learn from these people as well, especially as part of their everyday practice in their profession. So, I cannot wait to read your responses to these discussion prompts under this discussion forum. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you on the comments. Thank you.